Hey everyone, 大家好, it's Jake here from Skritter. In today's video, we're going to be going over a beginner's guide to the new mobile application. I'm going to cover what is included in a guest account, how the application works, some of the settings that you can use. I'm going to cover some tips and tricks to maximize your learning, and I'm also going to cover what a premium subscription looks like. So if you feel like starting a 7-day free trial and subscribing to Skritter, what features you're going to get along the way. So without any further ado, let's get started and let's open the application. Now you've downloaded the application from the store and it's time to open it up. And if you're using the Skritter Chinese application, the first thing it's going to ask you is, do you want to study simplified or traditional characters? Now, we say if you're not sure, we recommend simplified characters. Simplified Chinese is used in China. It's recognized as a language in the UN. More often than not, this is going to be the default. This is going to be what you want to study. If you are interested in Taiwan, you're potentially going there, you're studying traditional characters, we have that option as well. So you can choose, if you already have a Skritter account and you want to log in, you can do so with using the existing user login button on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and press Simplified Chinese. And that's going to take us to our home screen. All right, so now that you're on the home screen, you're gonna see a variety of decks that you can study from. Again, these are 100% free. You do not need an account to do anything. And these decks are ordered by difficulty. So we're starting out with counting by numbers, Chinese stroke order, the Chinese zodiac, 100 common radicals. And as we progress through, things get a little bit harder, slightly more complex. Colors, the planets in the solar system, and the history of Gui turtle. So these decks, when you're studying them, you want to think of each one of these as a mini lesson. Each one of these decks has videos inside of them that are 5 minutes or less. They have learning activities to teach you the vocabulary that's inside of these decks, and there is tests that you can take along the way. We're going to be having some more free decks in the future, but right now you can study hundreds of characters 100% entirely for free. All you got to do is open the app and you can start studying right away. All right, so now I'm going to open a deck and I'm going to start from the very top. We're going to go through counting numbers 1 through 10. And when you open the deck, you are going to see that there is a video that you can watch. Again, these are bite-sized lessons, 5 minutes or less. They're going to give you context about the thing that you are studying. They're going to teach you some cultural tips. You're going to hear the pronunciation, and these are all created by the Skritter team. Inside this, you're also going to see that there are sections. Now, some decks have more sections than others. This particular deck just has one section that has the numbers 1 through 10 in it. You're going to see some progress here. We haven't made any progress yet. And there's also going to be 2 buttons that are on the main deck screen, the learning button and the testing button. And these will jump into the activities. There's also a setting up on the top here, and I'm going to click that just to show you what it looks like. This allows you to copy decks, hide decks, and reset decks. Now, copy and hide are not something that you're going to be able to do on the guest account, but you can reset your progress. So if you study for a little while and you want to start over, you want to get that learning experience again, just go up there into the settings and reset the deck. When you get into a learning activity, we are going to break down the words and the characters that you are studying into a couple different parts. Every single time that you start learning something, we're going to show you a preview card. This is a highlight of the things that you're going to be studying and the things you're going to be learning. Some of these things have images on them, all of them have definitions, and a lot of them have example sentences. So on this learning activity preview card, there's a couple different things that I'm going to show you. First of all, whenever you see these cards, you can tap on the audio button and it will play the audio again for you. You also have the example sentence.
一个月
So you can hear the example sentence here. 一个月. You can also tap on the example sentence and that will display the reading, the pinyin for it, and also give you the definition.
一个月
Up on the top right here, there are 2 buttons. There's a settings gear, which is the quick settings, and I'm going to talk about that later in the video. There's also the info button. So if you press on the info button, and this is available on all the cards as you're studying, no matter what activity you're in, it's just going to pull up the information about the card. So basically, it's another preview card, but you can see this at any time inside of the application when you're studying. We have Pleco integration. If you're on Android, we also have Hanping integration for that dictionary. And again, you can play the audio
一
and you can play the sentence.
一个月
And if you have an account, you can create your own custom mnemonics and you can see that your stats and a couple other things. Okay, so enough about the preview card. Now we are ready to start learning. When we're learning, Skritter uses cards, and we have 4 different card types inside of the application. The first card type that we're going over is the definition. So on this definition card, you are going to think of the meaning of the word, and then you're going to tap the screen to reveal the answer. So this character, E, means 1. And now we are going to go on to a reading card. So think of the pronunciation of the word, tap the screen, and reveal the answer. If you are in your house, or you are in public and you really don't care what people are thinking, I'm highly encourage you to say these readings out loud. You're gonna get better results, you're gonna get more repetition. And what is asking here right now is what's the pinyin? And pinyin is Hanyu pinyin, which is often just abbreviated to pinyin, and that is the official romanization system of Standard Chinese, which is used in mainland China. It appears sometimes in Taiwan, oftentimes in textbooks, because they're not going to force you to learn Juin Fuhao Bopomofo. So it's not uncommon to see things in Taiwan in pinyin, but really this is the way that we type characters on our computer. It's the way that we can look things up in the dictionary, and it's going to help us pronounce the characters. So what's the pinyin for this? This is YI in the first tone, E. All right, so next up is a tone card. So you're going to complete this card by drawing the correct tone for the character on the canvas. And the reason that we have you draw this is because we want to engage your senses. We want to use your muscle memory. So you are going to be connecting the tones with the character on the card. And there are 4 primary tones in Chinese. There's a first tone. So if I use YI as the reading, E. There's a second tone, a rising tone, E. There's a third tone, E. And a fourth tone, E. And then we also have a neutral tone, a 5th tone, and that is done by tapping with a dot on the screen, E. So this is a first tone, and I just draw on there and I'm done. All right, and now we are on to the writing cards. So the way the writing cards work in the learning activity is we take you through the writings 3 times. And the first time we teach you the stroke order, the second time you are going to trace over the top of the character, and the third time you're going to write this from memory. So here you can see a dot that's guiding you through, and the stroke order, there is a stroke order deck inside of this application, but the general rules, if you're going to think of 2 rules and only 2 rules, it's going to be left to right and top to bottom. So we're writing this character and we're going to write it left to right. So now we are on the final card for our first learning activity, and it is asking us to write from memory. Now, you may be asking yourself right now, why is writing important? Well, when we're studying Chinese and we're looking at things, there is a clear connection between reading and writing. They are very much linked. So while you are learning Chinese, if you learn how to write Chinese characters, it will help you recognize them. In the wild, in your textbooks, it's just going to imprint them better. You're going to be using that sensory, tactile feel. You're actually physically writing the characters, and you're going to get that muscle memory, and it's really going to help kind of solidify these things in your brain. Additionally, it will help you look up characters. You can impress your friends, and if you're studying Chinese in any kind of a classroom, at some point during that experience, they're going to have you write characters, and this is the easiest way. Using Skritter is one of the easiest ways to get an A on any of your tingxie. All right, so I'm going to write the character. Great job. If you want the character again, tap the erase button or swipe up on the canvas to erase the current character and start over. So again, I can use that erase button. I can swipe up on the canvas, and I can write it as many times as I'd like. I'm going to go over the gestures really quick as well. So as it said in the pop-ups, tap your finger once and that will show the stroke. Now there's only 1 stroke in this character. We can also tap the hint button. That will show that. Okay, so we have learned 5 characters. We have learned how to write 1 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to stop right here. So now that we've learned the first 5 characters, counting 1 to 5, I'm going to be done for right now. You can continue learning, and when you get to the end of the section, it'll automatically end the session for you, or you can press this X up here on the top left, and that is going to exit your session. So now we're on the deck section, and we can see that I've studied 5 out of the 10 words. They're indicated here by the circles on the characters. You can also see your progress above. And as I was saying before, the info button that is on the study cards, you also can access this inside of any one of the decks. So if I tap on any one of these characters, whether I've learned them or not, it's going to pull up the information for that character, and I can get a little bit more details. So testing is really important when we're studying anything new. We tend to forget things rather quickly. Our short-term memory is not so great. So it's kind of important for us to test often to keep things fresh, especially in our short-term memory. This can be great for quizzing some material that you're just studying, or if you're preparing for a test or something like this. It allows you to engage with the language beyond once you've learned it, so you get to put what you're studying to good use. Anytime that you are running a test in Skritter, you can customize the test to suit your needs. So we have the option here to limit the total number of cards that we get in a session. Right now, you'll see on the bottom here that I have 40 cards that are in my test. That is all the cards that are inside of the deck. But I can limit it down. I can limit this to 10 or 20 cards if I'd like. I can also turn on learned only. So that is going to restrict the cards that are in my test to the things that I've actually been studying. We can also limit the card types. So if I just wanted to do writing cards, for example, learned only, then I can start that test. All right, so I'm going to run through a 10-card test here, show you what it's like, and see how well we do. So when we're inside of a test, there is no more hand holding. There are gestures and there are hints and there are buttons if we want to use them. But if we do, we're going to get these things marked wrong. So while you're testing, again, if you have the opportunity, I highly encourage you to say these things out loud, interact with the application, use as many senses as you can. And that's really just going to level up your practice along the way. So what's the pinyin? E. All right, draw the tone. R. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. R. 2. And there you have it. Test is complete. 100% great success. All right, so you have the option to try the test again, or you can return to the section if you're done, and you can keep studying. So that is the test. Let's talk about some of the settings inside of the application. So I'm going to go back into a test really quick. The quick settings. So this is the gear that I talked about earlier that I didn't explain. So if I open this up here, we can see our quick settings, and I will talk a little bit how they work. So raw squigs, auto advance, auto play reading, sound effects, auto reveal, high definition, hide pinyin. All of these things can be turned on and off very quickly, so you can kind of set things up the way that you'd like. And I encourage you to try around, play around with these things, see which one you like the most. So first of all, I'm going to turn on raw squigs. I'm going to keep everything else the same, and I'll show you what this looks like. So raw squigs is not going to be beautiful snapping strokes. It's just going to record your input. So with raw squigs on, you'll notice that the strokes look very different when you're writing them. So I would highly encourage you, if you want a challenge, if you really want to level up quickly, turn on raw squigs. Don't ever turn them off. You will not regret it. Your life will be better. Your characters will be, you'll just learn them faster. All right, so that's the first setting. And if I turn this off here and go back, again, you can see the difference between the two. So the next setting here is auto advance. You'll notice that as I'm studying these cards, when they get graded, there is a bar that slides across the screen. So I can turn that off, and that just gives you more control. So you have time, you can study the cards as you're going through them, and you choose when you want to advance to the next card. And that's just done by tapping on the screen. So next thing on here is autoplay reading. So when a card is completed or when a card comes up for the first time, it's going to play the audio when it's available. You can turn that off. You can also turn sound effects off if you don't like those. There's also this option to auto reveal, and this is for the two toggles below it, high definition and hide pinyin. So if I turn these two things on, and I'll keep auto reveal on, you're going to see now that on a reading card, what's the pinyin, it is not actually going to show you the definition. And it will show you the definition if you either tap on it or if you reveal the card. And this is a way for you to focus on the actual card that you're studying for. No distractions. You're really kind of linking the character and the meaning, or the character and the reading, with the thing that you're answering. So this is, again, one of these things where if you are up for the challenge, I highly recommend you turn this on and never look back. So here you can see on a writing card, for example, the pinyin is turned off, and I can tap to reveal that, or I can finish the prompt, and then we'll show it at the end. If we go onto the side menu here, this is where you can get to your more settings. You can see your gestures again. You can learn some tips and tricks about Chinese. You can rate us if you happen to hide the button, and you can also get some help. So if we tap on this will take you to some documentation that we have, a mobile guide, release notes, just things that are important that you might want to check out. You can also search, so anything that we have a documentation on will come up, or if you have a question or just want to say hi to us, you can press the contact button and you can send us an email. So I'm going to close this out, and I'm just going to go through the settings here. So these are more global settings. Many of these are in the quick settings, but some of these are not. They have more universal controls. So here is the character style. So if you chose something incorrectly, you want to change, you want to check out traditional Chinese, you want to study both, you can do that right from here. You can also control what cards you are studying overall. And this will have an impact on not only what you see inside of the tests, but also the cards that you have in your learning activities, and the things that go into review if you have a premium subscription. So you can turn these on or off. If you turn something off, you are going to have to relearn it again later if you turn it back on. So, proceed with caution, but really, if there's something that you don't want to be studying, you have that control right here. We also have some writing canvas settings, so you can turn on basic writing, and this is basically in here if you're on a slightly older device, something's feeling a little bit laggy, I would recommend turning this on. On some devices, it's actually on by default. You can turn streak effects on and off, you can turn grading colors on and off, and you can turn your raw squigs on and off right here. There's also an animation speed that you can change. I prefer default, but you can play with this. And we also have some card settings. So auto advance, you can set the speed of auto advance, and the rest of the stuff here. And all of this stuff was covered in the quick settings. So that is what is included inside of this application from a guest experience. Again, no account necessary, 100% free. Study tons of decks, many lessons, really just have fun with it. Before I show you what is included in a premium account, if you do end up subscribing or signing up, I just want to talk about some tips and tricks to maximize your learning. And I think I've covered them a lot so far, but really just engage as many senses as you can while you're learning. So we're using our muscle memory to write our characters and draw our tones, but while you're studying, when it asks you what the pinyin is or what the reading is, say it out loud. Practice, use the audio that you're hearing and try and mimic it to the best of your ability. Say the definitions out loud, think about the characters. The second you have learned how to count numbers 1 to 10 and 10 and beyond, you can actually start using those things as you're writing characters. So even from day one, learning to count your numbers, you can start putting that to use. You can start counting the strokes as you write them. E, just like I did with the character 4, S, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you just get more and more and more practice. The more repetitions you have, the more comfortable you're going to be in the language, recognizing it, speaking it, etc. And now I'm going to show you what happens if you go and visit one of these things and you start your trial. So in order to create an account on Skritter, you're going to enter your email address, create a password, and create an account. And that is going to give you a 7-day free trial to the premium service. You will have access to everything inside of the application. You will just get a taste of what it's like. But I'm not going to create a new account. Instead, I'm just going to show you my account. So let's do that right now. Okay, so you've signed up for an account for Skritter, and now you are logged in and you are a user, you have a username, you have a password, all these different things. You are gonna notice things slightly different on the home screen. So first things first, you're going to see that you have some cards that are due for the day. This is because Skritter uses a spaced repetition system. So as you are learning things, yes, we can go in and test materials and we can do that on the deck level, but that becomes really inefficient really quickly. So what Skritter does is we take all of the cards that you are studying, all of the cards that you are learning, and those become a part of a global review queue. And every single day you have some cards that are due, and this is just based on your study habits. So things that you forget, things that you're learning for the first time are going to be due for the day, and things that you have studied and you know pretty well will be due at some point in the future, so that you don't forget them. So every single day you'll see your due cards, and those will be a collection of all of the things that you've been studying from every single deck, due every single day. We also have continuous mode, and this is also a review activity. There is a little bit less focus on individual cards that are due for the day. So if you're just starting out and you're finding that one card per day per word that you're studying is not enough, you can use continuous mode and it will just repeat things a little bit more often. We also have time attack mode, and so we encourage you all to battle. So we're going to go in here and load this up, and you can toggle between simplified and traditional. And you can choose HSK 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and you can go and see if you have what it takes to make it on our top 25 leaderboards. If you go into any one of these decks, actually, you can also see your personal best that you do. Yeah, I happen to be number 1 right now. I know Ula's going to beat me at some point, Mullen Drake, but so you can go in and do all of these things, and you can do this as many times as you like. It's a lot of fun. It's 20 random cards, and it really is just a test of how well you can use Skritter, but more importantly, how well you can recall these characters as they're coming up. You'll also see the recent decks here on the bottom, and this is maybe not all the decks that you have in your library, but the stuff that you're studying pretty regularly. To see all the decks that are inside of the application, you can go in here. So as you're studying things, you accumulate decks inside of your library, and you can see all of them here. These are all the decks that I'm studying from. If you want to find a new deck, you can go to the browse area and you can search for your decks. So we have thousands of decks in Skritter. There are tons of popular textbooks. There are the HSK decks. There's the TOCFL decks. All of those are inside of here. You can see a lot of the decks that are in the guest experience as well with the videos. And so all of them are just right in here inside of the browse area. You can also go to the featured decks area. And this is typically where we put the YouTube videos that we make, or any decks that we have. We try and put out a new deck every single week. And when we do, we're sure to feature them. So you can go in here and you can find some of the decks that we're making every single week. These are hand curated by Skritter oftentimes. And we've got a ton of them, and there's just going to be more and more and more. So you get access to all of these things. Everything is the same. If we were to go into this deck, for example, it'll load it up, and you have your learning options, you have your testing options, you can see your sections, you can go in and see any of the individual words. All those things are going to be the same as the guest experience. One thing is a little bit different though. When you go in and you are signed up for an account, you are going to see slightly more options. You have the ability to star vocabulary, and which you can see on the My Word screen. You can ban vocabulary, which means that you can remove it from your study queue. It basically just hides it for you. You can also see on words, you can see the character breakdowns. If you're on an individual character, let me see if I can get to one of those. You'll see that there's decompositions of how the characters work. And you can also see your study progress on any of the individual words. And so you can see here that my writings, definitions, readings, all that stuff is recorded. So another thing that is included on the premium experience is you have a progress screen, so you can see your all-time progress, you can see your daily progress. There's an activity feed. I just logged in for the first time today after doing the guest account, so I don't have any activity, although I did do some reviews. That stuff just didn't save right now. So you can see your progress and track that over time. And this screen, we're just going to keep improving as the app progresses. And then we can also go into My Words. And this is the ability to see every single word that you've ever studied on Skritter. You can look them up quickly. Or you can go in and sort them. So you can do a sort by alphabetical Z to A, and this is using pinyin. You can also go in and you can see the cards that you've banned. And you can go in and see the words that you've started. All right, apart from that, there are a couple more things that are included inside of a subscription, and those are in the settings here. So most of the things inside of here are going to be exactly the same, but we do have some review settings as well. So you have the option to have advanced SRS grading on. This is 4-button grading, so you can mark things as incorrect, you can mark things as hard, you can mark things as got it, and you can mark things as easy. And depending on how you grade those things, they will be scheduled into the future in different ways. So if you get something and mark it as too easy, for example, it's going to go further into the future than something that you just got as correct or got as hard, for example. You can also set your retention rate, and that is a global target, so it's trying to show you reviews. You can set this higher or lower based on your needs. I have mine at 90%. The default is 95%. You can do your language settings here. We have Heisig keyword support. And I believe that those are all the options that are different for a premium account. You can also go in and you can see your username, you can set your country, you can do a private account, newsletter updates, eccentric mode, and there's the ability to refresh local data. This just grabs a new copy of things if you need to, things are getting a little out of sorts, or we do some updates and we say you need to refresh your data, and that's where it's done. You can also reset your account. If you press this, it's gonna say, are you really sure that you wanna do this? This is like a hard nuke on your account. This will delete everything, but that is possible from inside the application. You can also check your subscription status directly from inside the app. And that is it, everybody. That is just about everything that you need to know about the Skritter application and how it works. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, comments, be sure to email us or let us know in the comments below. And as always, 如果你们喜欢我们的影片，欢迎按赞、订阅、分享来支持我们。下次见，拜拜。